они не американцы.
Нет, прошу вас! Нет, не надо, не надо! Нет, нет, пожалуйста, нет! Нет! Не надо! Нет, не надо! Нет! Не надо! Отпустите меня! Отпустите меня! Нет, отпустите! Нет! Отпустите! Нет! Не оставляй! Не надо! Выпусти меня! Выпусти меня, пожалуйста! Выпусти! Не оставляйте меня здесь! Я не виновен! Я не виновен! Я не прошу вас! Не надо!
Hi everyone, it's Charlie. I got a lot of requests to do a Stranger Things Season 3 video, so this will be for the ending and the special post-credit scene. Normally, they do not do post-credit scenes for Stranger Things, so this is actually a pretty big deal. They want to let you know that there will be a Season 4 and they're all coming back. But there were a couple really big hanging plot threads about what happened to a couple of the main characters, so we'll break it down. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the Easter egg videos. We have a whole bunch of stuff and Comic-Con trailers coming really soon. The Witcher Netflix series with Henry Cavill is going to drop its first trailer in a couple weeks, so of course I'll be doing videos for that too. But careful for spoilers if you have not seen all of Stranger Things Season 3 because we'll be talking about the ending, so rampant spoilers. Here we go. So the very end, the Battle of the Starcourt Mall, Billy, who'd been controlled by the Mind Flayer all season, possessed in the exact same way that Will was possessed by it during Season 2, becomes sort of a proxy for the Mind Flayer. In addition to that giant, gross-looking monster that was an amalgamation of biomatter from all the rats and the other people, turns into a very Star Wars Return of the Jedi ending fight. Darth Vader turning on the Emperor, because of course they're referencing a Star Wars movie. They reference every 80s movie and TV show that you've ever seen during Stranger Things. So their Darth Vader turns on their Emperor after Eleven shows him his happy memories of his childhood with his mother. They try to humanize Billy a little bit more this season instead of just making him the turbo douche that he was during Season 2. He sacrifices himself to delay the Mind Flayer long enough for Hopper and Joyce down inside the Russian facility to deactivate that special energy beam that the Russians were using to open a new gate to the Upside Down. Some of the references they were making with the mall, the Starcourt Mall during Season 3, were playing on people's fears during the 1980s that malls were destroying small towns. They turned it into a literal thing, genre style, where the mall itself was this evil creation of the Russians designed to distract people so that they could try to open a new gate to the Upside Down in Hawkins because they were unsuccessful trying to do it back in Russia. So the Russians this season were just trying to do the exact same thing that the Hawkins facility was trying to do in the first two seasons, open a door to the Upside Down. Hopper and Joyce are successful in destroying the machine. It malfunctions, and once it blows up, the gate between dimensions closes, severing the link between the Mind Flayer and all the things in our dimension that it's controlling, including the gross giant monster, which basically deactivates, and then Billy, who the monster had already killed. So of all the long-running characters, Billy is really probably one of the few actual deaths that we can confirm. One of the first big questions that they raise, though, is that when Hopper and Joyce destroy the energy beam, it seemingly malfunctions, this giant energy discharge vaporizes all the Russians in the room, but you do not see Hopper die. You don't see him at all, for that matter. No body, no nothing. He just seemingly disappears, and Joyce, who doesn't totally understand what's going on, just assumes that he died in the explosion too. So that's what she tells everyone when she comes back up top outside of the mall. But after everyone goes on summer vacation, coming back for season 4 next year, there's even a sign that they drive past on their way out of town saying, "Come back to Hawkins soon," just reminding you that there will be a season 4, all those characters will come back. There's a final shot of them closing the door to Will's house as they leave, and as the credits start, it seems like it's starting to snow across the blackness of the screen, just the credits. You hear this cold winter wind blowing. Remember that because it's a visual metaphor for what actually happened to Hopper at the end of the season. Then the actual post-credit scene starts with a transition to Kamchatka, Russia, which is way over in the northeastern corner of Russia, way up here. 3 months have gone by since the end of the season, and we're in an underground Russian military base. 2 Russian guards walk past a row of cells. One goes to open a cell. The other guard says, "No, not the American." Remember that. They proceed to the next cell and pull a Russian prisoner out who's screaming, "Please don't take me." We've never met him before. This is the first time we've ever seen this character. They haul him down a flight of stairs and throw him in a cage to feed him to the demo dog that they had teased earlier this season that Dustin mentioned when Lucas's little sister was asking about this huge cage.
Hey, Dustin,
Yeah,
how big did you say that Demogorgon was?
big. 9 feet or so. Why?
But the big surprise is that the demo dog has evolved into its final boss form, another brand new white Demogorgon. The reason it's white is just to let you know that it's a new, different one because 11 destroyed the first Demogorgon at the end of Season 1. Which, also remember that too, because the ending of Season 3 is very similar to what happened at the end of Season 1. But that just means that the Mind Flayer still has a toehold in our world through this Demogorgon. Whether or not the Russians have a lot of control over the Demogorgon is just another thing linking the Mind Flayer to our world. So the Mind Flayer is maybe defeated, but not absolutely destroyed. The big Hopper twist, of course, is that he's still alive. Of course, he's that prisoner in that underground Russian facility. He's the American that they mentioned. But you ask, how did Hopper get all the way to Russia if his body wasn't found anywhere in the wreckage immediately after the accident in the basement of this facility at the mall? The best theories are that 1, because the machine was creating a doorway to the Upside Down, Hopper somehow entered the Upside Down in that big blast, got trapped in there the same way that 11 got sucked into the Upside Down when she killed the first Demogorgon at the end of Season 1, and then she got trapped there for a while. Maybe Hopper got stuck in there at some point in the days or weeks after the Russians were able to extract him from the Upside Down and then threw him in this prison for questioning in Kamchatka, Russia. Like I said, it's unclear if the Russians have control over this brand new Demogorgon, but second theory is that we know that Demogorgons have the ability to freely travel between dimensions. It's clear that the Demogorgon escaped in the chaos of this finale. It escaped its cage somehow, and then the Russians recaptured it later. So it's possible that in the chaos, the Demogorgon grabbed Hopper, drug him into the Upside Down, then out of it in all the chaos, and that's when the Russians picked him up and threw him in prison. Because the Russians have not stopped their attempts to open wormholes to the Upside Down. That's still something that they want to do. But you see how they're basically saying that the same thing happened to Hopper at the end of Season 3 that happened to 11 at the end of Season 1. That's why for a brief second, when you see this door transition to the blackness of the credits, you see what looks like spores of the Upside Down falling across the screen. A visual metaphor telling you that Hopper traveled through a door into the Upside Down. But then somehow the Russians picked him up and threw him in prison. They gave Hopper the 11 moment from the end of Season 1, so of course they're going to have to rescue him in Season 4, whether or not that means road trip to Russia or the Soviet Union because this is still the 80s, or if the Russians bring him back to the United States, we'll see. It would be cool for a change of pace to see the kids actually go on a road trip to the Soviet Union at the height of the Cold War, but I think it just depends on how they want to wrap things up and whether or not there's going to be a Season 5 after Season 4. One of the big teasers of Season 3 that they didn't completely pay off is that they said that the only way to win for good and stop the Mind Flayer would be to destroy the Mind Flayer itself, instead of just destroying its agents like the Demogorgon during Season 1, all the people that were Mind Flayed like Billy or the giant gross monster at the end of Season 3. The Mind Flayer itself is still alive and well inside the Upside Down. So at some point, they'll either have to go to the Upside Down and destroy the Mind Flayer there with the help of the other Espers that 11 met during Season 2, or the reverse happens, the Mind Flayer physically makes it into their dimension and they defeat it on their Earth. But just remember that until they defeat the Mind Flayer itself, this won't be over. It will keep trying to make its way into our dimension and take over. That's kind of what it does. It's sort of like Dormammu during the Doctor Strange movie. It rules over dimensions and it sort of collects other dimensions and takes them over one at a time. So the Mind Flayer moves from dimension to dimension until all things are connected to the Mind Flayer. They also kind of did that with Ego the Living Planet during Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Grow and spread, covering all that exists until everything is me.
If you have any other big questions about the season, just post them in the comments below and I'll try to answer them. But obviously there will be season 4 next year. They haven't said a whole lot about it. I don't know if they're going to Comic-Con, but like I said, Netflix is going to have a really big panel for the Witcher TV series where they'll drop the first trailer. That's going to start later this year, I believe in December, and I will be doing episode videos for that. While you wait for everything, click here for my Spider-Man Far From Home post-credit scene and Easter egg videos, and click here for that brand new Shazam Black Adam scene. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.